Barcelona to Madrid, and then from Madrid to Sevilla and stuff. You see everything in between.
Yeah.
Psychologically, emotionally, it was much harder. When it gets silent and you're just with you and your mind, kind of. Because you're so much by yourself and everything is silent. And you don't have, you know, internet and phone. Especially now, very aware of helping each other.
Oh, cool. Yeah, for this time, I just heard that you just been the cycling traveling, right?
Yeah.
So it is your first time for cycling traveling?
Yes, it's the first time that I went such a long trip, because we started in Portugal.
Oh. You fly from Germany to Portugal? You just prepare from Portugal?
Yes, I flew. I was in Portugal.
Portugal, okay.
No, sorry, I was in Germany for a little bit, because I don't live in Germany at the moment, but I was visiting my family, and I flew to Portugal because I knew I wanted to start there. The reason was quite simple, because the idea of the trip was to go from the most western point of Europe to the most eastern point, or to the borders of Asia.
Of course.
And so basically, me and a friend, we started preparing very little. We weren't really not that prepared. We just bought a couple of bicycles, did a little bit of work on them, packed our bags and left. And over the last kind of 100 days, we cycled through 12 different countries.
Wow, 12 from now. Turkey is the last. So
Turkey is the last one. Yeah.
So from first Portugal and
Portugal to Spain. From Spain you enter. You have to cross the Pyrenees and you go into France.
France is number 3.
We went through the south of France into crossing the Alps into Italy.
Oh, Italy, cool.
Italy to Slovenia.
Yes, I mean.
Slovenia, I have to remember. Slovenia to Croatia. And in Croatia we went kind of Croatia, Bosnia on the border through the mountains.
Okay.
Going to, let me get this right, going through Macedonia. Yes. I think first Montenegro, Albania, Macedonia, Greece, and then Turkey. So I think it's like 11 or 12 countries.
Wow. So this all is a line of the Europe's.
The width basically of Europe. Yeah.
Wow, that's perfect. So why you have make choice for this traveling for bicycle?
Because as I said, the first trip I did was walking, and what I realized walking in comparison to other journeys that I've done, other travels that I've done, is that it's it's slow travel.
Oh yeah.
When you don't drive with a bus from like Barcelona to Madrid and then from Madrid to Sevilla and stuff, you see everything in between. Yeah. And also you get to places where most tourists usually don't go. Yeah. You go through the interior, through small villages, and that's really what interests me the most. Yeah. And on this bicycle trip, it's not quite as slow as walking, of course, but you have a fairly easy, slow speed, and you can go through the interior of countries and still cover great lengths if you invest a little bit of time. And we were able to go through small places where people, especially towards the end of the trip, in like the Balkan areas, going through like small villages where no one really expects to see someone, little villages where there's maybe 2 or 3 houses. And then, although we didn't speak the language often, we would try and communicate, and people are really curious and they say, "Oh, where are you from? What are you doing here?" That's really nice. Because when someone is so used to tourism, I mean, when you start traveling, it's obviously nice to go to places that where people are used to tourism, where there's a good infrastructure, because then you feel maybe a bit safer or a bit more comfortable. You have hostels and stuff. this time around we wanted to go kind of as far away from that usual tourism, you know, and go camping in the wilderness and get to know people that usually don't get to meet so many travelers, because it's very interesting. There's a different, maybe it's a little bit more, it feels like there's a great deal of authenticity, you know, and culture that is not culture that hasn't been influenced so much by the outside world, you know, like you go through small villages, small towns, and it's kind of let's say you're in Croatia and it's so Croatian, you know, like it's not like you go there and you have all the businesses that you have in like the big cities. So there's just these tiny supermarkets or a small bar, and people are really excited because my friend is Argentinian. That I traveled with, and when you're like in the middle of the mountains somewhere in Bosnia, and you go through like into a little cafe and they're surprised to see you, they ask where you're from, and my friend says Argentina, and they're like, Argentina from the other end of the world, you know. And so immediately you have a conversation, and that's really sweet. That's really nice, you know. People were really kind, really good. And it always, for me, traveling always restores a little bit my faith in humanity. Do you know, because sometimes when you watch the news and when you only listen to what people are saying that also watch the news, the world can seem like very negative. I see. But when you know, put your phone down and you don't watch, like only TV, watch the news, and you just go out there and you talk with people, and they're so beautiful, so friendly, so kind.
Very wonderful and beautiful. Don't always become the homesick. Play the game or watch the TV, or blah blah. Life is colorful.
And because sometimes you find people that are they're so kind, and they don't need to be, you know, they don't need to be so nice to you and do, you know, it would be enough if they're like polite and nice and stuff, but sometimes there's people that go out of their way to be generous and to be kind and and it's just beautiful, and you find it everywhere in the world, in every corner of the world, and that for me is the majority of my experiences for like almost a decade of traveling. That's the majority of people. Very rarely did I get into a situation where someone was like not that nice. I mean, it can obviously happen, but it can also happen when you stay home. You know, it can happen everywhere.
You're right.
So
you just talk about your this time you just go with your Argentinian travel partner. So how you what's his name? Martin, right? Martin. So how you met him on the way?
We met almost a year ago in Portugal.
Oh, in Portugal.
When we were in a hostel.
So before you're traveling the cycling, you just know
exactly. We met each other maybe half a year before. Oh, cool. And I said to him, look, I want to do this travel. Oh, I think I was talking to another friend of mine, and I was talking with him about the journey. And Martin heard it, and he went like, you're gonna do what? You're gonna go with a bicycle to Istanbul? That sounds so nice. I wanna go as well. And I said, yeah, for sure, come. You know, it would be nice. You know. Of course, when you travel, sometimes is because it's such an intense time. You need to. We all travel differently. Some people want to be very planned and organized. Other people want to be very spontaneous. So we kind of had to figure out, are we right for each other as travel partners?
You know? Partner, you're right.
Because when you do something like this, it's also more extreme. So you want to be able to, you want to know that the other person supports you. You want to know that when you don't feel so good, maybe emotionally or mentally, that they're there for you. You know, because when you do something that is physically demanding, like such a long cycling trip,
I see.
You need someone that can like motivate you.
Yeah, of course.
When you have a day where you feel, oh, I don't feel so good, that they can like lift you up.
Of course.
And it turned out that Martin, for me, was a person like this, and I was able to be that person for him.
Cool.
So that was really important because we had some very interesting, funny cool. situations, adventurous, you know, when you're somewhere in the mountains and there's no one else.
Yeah, of course.
And it's wilderness and wild animals, and you sleep outside for you know, a long time, and sometimes you feel like, oh, I'm cold, I want to, you know, I want a bed, I want, but
yeah, funny. You know, are you getting well with Martin for traveling during the 100th day together?
I think we never really had a big argument.
Oh yeah, you know, in the traveling we have very, very big problem. Just you have some thin problem with your traveling partner, so you have to separate or break up.
Yeah.
So, but you can insist here.
Yeah. But we never really had a big argument. I think I don't know, like. There was never anything that was, there's like little things, no, like everyday things, because you're so close with someone all the time.
Wow.
That you like, but at the same time, because you're traveling on the bike, maybe he's like 100 meters in front of me or 100 meters behind me, and throughout the day you're by yourself and you're cycling, so you're very much, it's a little bit like meditation because you're on the bicycle. And we didn't listen to music or anything like this. Sometimes it's too dangerous when there's traffic, you know. Yeah. So we end up basically thinking a lot and being in our head and moving obviously a lot. And then by the end of the day, or when we have a break, we're like, oh, what were you thinking about today? What went through your head? And at the beginning, what was surprising to me was that obviously the first 2 weeks physically you're pushing your body, but your body gets stronger quickly.
In heavy for the travel. Yeah. Exactly.
But psychologically, emotionally, it was much harder.
Well, yeah, of course.
Because you're so much by yourself and everything is silent, and you don't have, you know, internet and phone and
TV or everything.
Exactly. Because you don't
On windy.
Right?
And you listen your heart.
Because you don't have that. You lack the. Nowadays we're obviously constantly we have a kind of constant input stimulation, no?
Yeah.
And when it gets silent and you're just with you and your mind, kind of, sometimes you find, for no reason, or it seems like for no reason, oh, I'm angry.
Yeah.
And then you realize, oh, there must be something that makes me angry.
Yeah.
So you have to think about it, you know, and then you think, oh, maybe because I didn't resolve that conversation with my friend or with my parent or with. So you're working a lot on you, and that's also something why a good travel partner is so important, you know, because you can share, and if you're open, you just say, oh, today I was feeling a bit sad. I don't know why, but, you know, and then you talk about it.
Understand together.
And so together we did that a lot, you know, just by the end of the day kind of talk about different things, and that's really nice.
That's really cool.
Yeah. It's not just party and
it's the different,
you know.
It's on the way, just you two, you are a partner. Yeah. But you have lost it together before sometimes? You lost in contact with him or somewhere? Or you're just together?
No, we're basically the entire trip we were together because we're planning. We didn't plan that much the route. Yeah. We were quite spontaneous with where we were going, but because we sometimes, especially later on, we didn't have internet or signal sometimes in certain countries.
Just missing for that. Lost, so how to contact?
So we wouldn't have been able to contact each other. Yeah. So we were basically always together.
Oh, cool.
But yeah, maybe sometimes he's like a little bit ahead and I'm a little bit back, but we always
just catch up together.
Yeah.
Right. That's perfect. You know, during this traveling, it is during the COVID-19, so it is difficult for you for some time the people avoid to touch you or contact you.
Yeah. Do you know, I think it's a difficult one, because people want to be kind, and people want to be generous, and people want to invite you into their house often, or to be like, have that, you know, closeness. I mean, we that's humans, right? We love you know, we need that contact,
of course.
And so now maybe people are a little bit more careful, but they're still trying to be as kind as they can, and like,
of course.
And sometimes you maybe go somewhere and people are a bit more scared, but in general I find that people, especially now, are very aware of helping each other.
Oh, cool.
You know, like it's again, if you watch the news or you watch media and you watch what's being said, it feels like the world is terrible right now. But if you're out there and you see people, how they interact with each other and how kind they are, we are, I don't know, I have a lot of hope. I'm very positive, you know, I'm very optimistic about people, because they do try and help each other where they can, for the most part. Of course, there's always an exception.
Well, that's good.
For so long, and you can buy the really expensive stuff, and you can do, but you don't need it. Or you don't wear the right shoes, or you don't do the right this, and by the end, it's so personal. And the good thing is also, make mistakes. It's good to make mistakes. That's the best thing to do. If everything always goes well, I think that's brilliant. You face kind of obstacles mentally, you know, physically. You learn so much.